to the cloud. Excellent. Welcome, everybody. Today is the 4th of February, 2022. And oh my goodness, am I rushed off my feet? I'm sorry I've kept you waiting. I'm sorry the recording is slightly late, but I'm covering for John because he is away representing another side of the business. And Shannon, I think, has a hands full holding the fort in his absence. So you've got me. Don't know how excited you are about that, but let's see. So knowing that I potentially was going to be covering today, I wasn't going to do the part 2 of the Strength of Character series that I started on Tuesday when I was general session facilitator. So I'm going to talk about something completely different today. And what was coming up for me is you're highly valued, right? For some of us, we probably question what value we add or what contribution we make. And we underestimate the value that we bring into anything that we do, right? And I mean, what is value? I mean, let's talk about value for a minute. If I went into a shop and I saw an item that, yeah, I'd like to have, and if that item was highly priced and beyond my budget or what I think I should pay for said item, I'm going to think it's overpriced, right? That's because the value that I've attached to that item doesn't correspond with the label, the price tag that I've seen it in the shop, right? But how many times do we go into a store and we pick up an item and we say to ourselves, if this was 4 times the price tag, I'd happily pay for it, right? But then we get it for a steal and we bring it home and we give it the prime position in our homes or on our desks, or if it's an item of clothing or whatever it is, and we treat it with such respect. And every time we wear it, people comment on it, right? They congratulate us and they go, oh, wow, where did you get that piece? So I like that, and then you tell them where you got it, right? But where I'm going with value, and the reason why I'm giving that example is I've been talking about me, and this is probably something for corporate couriers, but I can talk about it today because it's Fun Friday. And this just cracked me up. I was in stitches earlier on today. I was on 2 calls today, and one of those calls, I had to announce to the entire audience that I was leaving the organization, right? And I thought I hadn't added that much value, right, to this particular network, not knowing that the fact that I came up with the name for the network resonated with a lot of people, right? But over and above that, at every meeting, I suggest, ideas, what we could do to make our profile, better, to raise our profile, to get external people in, to give talks, et cetera, et cetera. And the chat blew up as soon as I said I was leaving at the end of the month. And it was amazing. Some of the people who were sending me congratulatory messages were the least suspects, like if I can use that phrase. It wasn't from people I would expect to have that. So clearly, my interpretation of what value I had to this network was nowhere near the value they placed on me, right? So they valued my contribution a lot higher than I valued what I had given. I just thought, oh, I gave the name and I've done 1 or 2 things and that's it, right? So where I'm coming from today is, what value do you place on yourself? And it's really important that everywhere we go, we need to know that people are going to be assigning value to us, whether it's in our business, whether it's our product, whether it's our service, whether it's our friends, whether it's our family, right? There's going to be value placed on you, right? And it might not correspond with the value you place on yourself. So there might be a disconnect. So your value sometimes will be higher, sometimes be lower than what you're going to get back from people. Another thing happened that was interesting. Somebody that I haven't spoken to one-on-one, so we kind of like have a group chat and we've spoken in the chat, like commented on things, but I haven't connected with this particular person one-on-one in probably almost 2 years. That's because I thought this person was being absolutely ridiculous and was taking the mick, right? They're just some people that you kind of like make suggestions on what they can do to get better, and they don't do it. Just either they like to moan, or they just are very comfortable where they're at and they don't want to change, et cetera, yada, yada. I can go on about that. And this person sent me a personal message, a PM, a direct message, and said, our last interaction I was hurt by, and you drew conclusions not speaking to me, but I still think there is a lot I can learn from your journey, because I think there are huge similarities between your journey and my journey. And so I would like us to pick up from where we left off, right? Now, my first instinct when I read that was I was miffed, right? I was like almost, almost super angry, right? I was irritated, was probably the least of the reactions I had as I read this message, right? Because I thought, has this person got selective memory, where not only did I have personal conversations with said person and I suggested things they could do to get out of their situation at the time, but I also formed a WhatsApp group to get some kind of intervention, right, into their situation. So this person has conveniently forgotten all the tries and all the strides and all the, attempts I made at improving where they were at. But it took somebody else reading that message and saying to me, but you could see it in a different way. This is quite a positive message. So the person has said how they felt as a result of our last interaction, but they've also said there's still something else they can learn from you, and they're willing to carry on building that relationship, right? So once again, that person still saw value in me, where as far as I was concerned, I was convinced that there was no value to be had, right? That I wasn't making a difference in this person's life. So that was an eye-opener for me. And it got me thinking all day that how many times, and in how many situations have I gone around undervaluing myself, or the opposite side of that, overvaluing myself, right? So all day and after this last call, I've been thinking, what value do I place in myself? And I've come to and I'm still thinking about this. And so it's fresh, so it might not make sense right now, but I'm still coming to that conclusion that I think the value that I have or the value that I bring will vary from situation to situation. So I might think of myself as a person of value, but depending on the situation or the circumstance, my value might change, because it's not always about me. It's about how that value is perceived by the other party. So I can think of myself as, oh yeah, I'm precious, I'm a gem, right? I'm valuable, I bring a lot to the party, right? But if the other person or the other parties don't see that value or don't appreciate that value, then there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be a disparity, right? So that got me thinking, in the marketplace, when we put our products out there, we might put a price tag on it, but somebody else might think, you know what, I'm not prepared to pay that. And that's not a direct reflection of you. It's what that person perceives the value as. So how about we don't take that person's perception as gospel truth? So we don't leave that transaction or potential transaction thinking of ourselves as less than we are, but going back to the drawing board and saying, you know what, I still value myself as this, on this level. That the other person or the other parties don't see my value the way I see it shouldn't make me think of myself less. And the opposite is true. If we go into a place and people say, I think you put the wrong price tag on that, I think it should be a lot higher. Once again, we should go back to the drawing board and say, have I undervalued that? Do I need to reassess the price tag I put on it? Because I know for a lot of us, we have products out, we have services we render, and the price points we set is based on our thinking.
Right.
So how do we feel about when we go into different situations, taking like the pulse of the group or of that transaction or of their situation and finding out where our value is, but knowing that when we leave that conversation or we leave that transaction, we don't take it on, especially if it's below where we think we should be, right? So I'm still fleshing this out in my head, but it's just been running around in my brain all day about my value. And so starting a new job, I'm already saying to myself, when I go in, people are going to value me differently, right? But if they undervalue me, I'm not going to take that on. That's their problem, right? If they overvalue me, I'm going to be asking questions as to why they think I have more value than what I think I have, and then try and live up to that, right? But if it's not where I want to be, I'm not going to devalue myself. I'm not going to take my value down because I want to fit into a space, right? So that's what was coming up for me today. I mean, I know it's a short topic, but I wanted to throw it out there. I mean, do you guys agree with this? Have you faced similar situations? Do you have your own examples? How are you feeling hearing this? I mean, do you think that everywhere you go, your value is the same as what you place on yourself? Or have you experienced different scenarios that have made you question your value, right? So it's a bigger topic than it is, than what I said today, but I think it's just pause for thought, right? It's just something we should think about, that our value, our personal value and the value we place on ourselves is not always going to match up when we walk out our front doors. And we should be ready on how we assess that and how we take that feedback on board. And that sometimes we are going to be pleasantly surprised and be told that we've added a lot more value than we thought we brought to the party, right? So it's a big subject, but that's what's been running around in my head today. And as Fun Friday, I thought, you know what, this is just so funny that I've just jumped off a call and people were thinking, oh my God, you've been so valuable. This is a lot of knowledge, a lot of institutional, like, you know, experience that we're losing in you moving on, because I've been there almost 13 years, right? And they're kind of like saying, oh my God, how are we going to replace you? And I never thought of myself like that. I mean, I know what I bring, but I didn't think I was irreplaceable. No one's indispensable. I've always believed that, right? As soon as you walk out the door, my God, they're going to fill that position real quick, right? So I never take myself too seriously. But it's just every time I go into a meeting where I've had to say, oh, I'm leaving, folks, and I get that kind of feedback, it kind of like throws a curveball at me, and it makes me reassess. Am I thinking of myself as less than? Am I undervaluing myself? Like, am I not thinking right? Am I not doing something right? So I don't know how this sits for you, but that's running around in my head, and I'm having to, I'm going to have to think about that some more and come up with what I want to do value-wise going forward. But it's been an interesting journey. Like, most people have valued me more than I value myself, and have valued my contributions more than I valued them, right? I think it's only maybe in 1 or 2 instances that I've been undervalued. And I've actually walked away from said situation saying to myself, you know what, I'm not devaluing myself, thank you very much, because I think I'm worth a lot more, right? Mm-hmm. And particularly in personal relationships, I don't know why I get that, but sometimes I think I just pick the wrong people, you know, but I'm just at the point now where maybe I need to up the price tag or the value tag on me going forward, and know that I bring a lot more to the party than the average person does, right? Or than the average person will place on me. Because it's made me think that I should stop doing this. I'm doing this a lot, and this is the feedback I'm getting over and over and over again. So everybody can't be wrong and I be the one right? I've got to like sit back and think of this. So yeah, Gail, I see you got your hand up. Please weigh in on this.
For me, whether it was just with my family and friends, or whether it was in the work that I was doing, I never really believed if somebody said to me, oh, you're fantastic, or how did you do that? You're doing such a good job. And my immediate response in my head was, if they knew what I'm really like, they wouldn't think that. And after it being said to me many times over the years, I started to think, well, maybe there's something to that. Maybe I am better than I thought I was. And especially I know in my career, I now look back and I think, gee whiz, and even just the other day, my oldest daughter and my son-in-law said, Mom, you did such a fantastic job. You were really good at what you did. Now I believe it. Then I didn't. And I think maybe a lot of us might feel that way, you know, that voice in your head comes back, if they really knew me, they wouldn't think that. And I think for me, that stems from my childhood and all the things that I went through, and all the years of therapy that I went through to get through all of that. It's helped me over the years. But I now, when people compliment me. I still get that initial, but then I say to myself, no, maybe they do see something that I don't. And so I try not to react, because quite often I would say, oh, no, 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 I'm not like that. Or I just say, no, no, no. So now I try to accept what people say to me. And looking back, I see that a lot of times they were right. So that's about it for me.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gail. And I think with the passage of time, we get to realize and accept the value that we have. But at the time,
Yes.
and in that space,
Yeah.
we're just not there. And it's amazing how the scripts come back at the most unexpected times, right? And they replay themselves. Even when you think you've gotten rid of them, they still come back and they sneak up on us, right? So yeah, that's interesting. Thank you so much, Gail, for that.
Thank you.
Mandy, you got your hand up.
Yes, hello, Ivie. So much was coming up to me for this. It's a bit like what Gail was saying. If I could take this back quite a few, I think the last 5 years is probably the time when I've probably seen my value more than I did before, and that I would think that I wasn't valued as much. But I also think that it starts in childhood, but it also work is a big thing about when you do value yourself, because so many organizations don't know how to value their staff. And we had a very toxic environment for quite a long time in one of the places I worked at back in I left in 2017, so probably for about 3 years. It was very toxic because I don't think my values, overall values, and the management overall values weren't the same. And so I was trying to protect my team. I was caught between the middle of the senior management, where I was also one, and my team, but my team were telling me one thing and the management were doing things which weren't right for my team, and it was my team that I wanted to put first. But it was really hard sometimes because I could see that the management wasn't valuing me, but I did have the strength that I knew that the team did. Because that, for me, that was more important, because I was there for them. I was their sounding board, and what the management were doing was not right. It was all to do with redundancies and not following the right rules and regulations, which were regulations that the council put in place at the time. And so I then left that and went to another company. And in both places, because I left there also when I got made redundant, but that was done so much better. But after I left there, I was getting people sending me messages too, which were people I didn't think were going to. And it was really sweet. It was always touched me when people said that, that it was the same, that you were leaving. And also when I had my 50th birthday party, I help out a MenCap, although we haven't been able to do it now that we're in lockdown. We haven't been able to do it for 2 years, but and some of the parents came up and said that, they valued what I did and that I was brilliant with the rest of the people there. But now it's got really, really strict because of safeguarding and everything. So a couple of times I've had people who want to message me on Messenger who are part of the clients there, and I'm not allowed to anymore. I got told off by one of the parents to say, you shouldn't really be doing that. It's like, well, she messaged me. I'm not, I know that I'm safe and nothing's happening, and so I have to be very careful with that you have to then you have to follow it because it's safeguarding, something I can do. But the other thing also, which I know that you'll be able to appreciate, is that when you are dating on dating sites, and I have been on them for years, but on and off, and it's only now that I'm really taking it seriously, but you have to recognize that nobody else gives you your value. You have to get your value from yourself. And right at the beginning, I think I was, somebody said something, I would think that and also on my ex, when I left, when we got divorced, nobody else can you have to believe in yourself and your own self-esteem and your own values, and take your own values. Don't let anybody else, like you said, bring your values down. And especially on dating sites, because they don't know you. And, and I'm so much stronger now than I was before. So I used to take everything so personally, and a couple of chats recently, and they sort of said, oh, I know what you do, or something else. And it's like, well, and I might come back to another time. It's like, well, no, don't come back. I'm not interested. I don't want to know what, and I've got stronger with it. And I now have become to know where my value is. And I think that's really important, is, like you said, know where your value is. but also, you've got to just be kind, just be the best person you can be along the way, so that you don't tread on anybody else's then, and that value will be there for other people as well. So it's a really good topic, and I just think, yeah, it's definitely on that side. Just do what you think is right and what your value is, and don't bring it down for other people.
Absolutely.
And view some of the things I've learned, that events are neutral. How you perceive those events is what makes a difference. So if an event happens, it doesn't mean that it's right. You can perceive it in the way that you want to, and try not to bring your old thoughts and scripts and everything back into it, which I know you do. So yeah, I thought that was really useful.
Thank you. I mean, Mandy, I agree with you on that. You shouldn't let anybody assign a value to you, especially if that value is less than what you place on yourself. And just like you, in personal relationships, that's where I let myself be undervalued. And I've taken such value as the true value. And therefore, I haven't known how to react or how to accept the treatment. Like, I've accepted rubbish treatment, right? Because I thought that's what I'm worth. That's what I deserve. That's the value I hold, right? So I've let certain things happen. But like you now, I'm a lot stronger. And this is where the word posture comes in for me. I mean, thanks to John. I mean, since he said that word posture, oh my God, it features in everything now, that I can pretty much tell straight up if somebody doesn't value me, at least where I value myself. On, if it's below that, I can see it, I can smell it. I'm like, just keep going, keep walking. Don't even stop here, because I'm not taking that value on, right? Because I know my worth now. I know my value, right? So anybody who comes towards me and gives me less than what I think of myself, I'm like, thanks, but no thanks, right? But that's because we've grown, right? We're stronger women, and therefore we can push back on less value than we place on ourselves. But for a lot of our lives, we've accepted the devalued status as gospel truth, right? And we've just taken whatever was dished out based on that value, right? And it's just like, how many years could we have clawed back and done a lot more with if we hadn't accepted said value? But I always say better late than never. So I'm happy that you and I now know what we're worth. And from this point going forward, there's just certain treatment, certain language, certain whatever that we will not be accepting. We'll just say thanks, but no thanks. Keep walking. Don't want to know you. That's it. I'm not trying to be mean, but you're not the kind of person I want to attract into my life. Thank you very much. Right. You probably be good for somebody else, but you're not good for me. You just say it like that with a smile on your face, and, urge them to just keep moving on. Right. So it's very true. And it's true that it takes time for us to grow and get that strength where we begin to believe our true value, right? And not the devalued status that somebody else places on us. But thank you so much for that. That's a reminder. And a lot of times, I mean, like you, I've encountered management that just don't see people as people. They see them as numbers. They see them as things. And so they treat them accordingly, right? But if they could see that these were whole persons coming into the workplace who were, oh my God, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, they had other roles they played. So they had more value that they were bringing into the organization. I think employers will treat their human resources a lot better, right? And it just goes to show, when you move to the other place, you could see a different kind of management style. And that just showed you, yeah, these guys are trying to do it right? But it takes that growth. It takes that process for us to recognize when it's being done badly and when it's being done right. Yeah, so thank you for those examples. Those are good ones. Thank you. Missy, you got your hand up.
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, Mandy. That was very resonated with me as well. And one of the first times I heard you speak, Ivie, you said, "I know my worth."
Yeah.
And that stuck with me.
Mm.
And I made a mug out of it, by the way. And,
Hey.
but sometimes I think Mandy said events are neutral. It depends what kind of events you're talking about, because there are traumatic things that can happen. And it puts you into, it almost breaks your world, like if you were a tree and they opened up a look at your ring, it'll be like an earthquake, and they could see, oh, something happened that year, look at that. And you carry that without even realizing. And it actually gets, the longer you carry it, the heavier it gets, but you don't realize it, because you can't, it's a spiritual weight that you don't physically feel. And if you don't know your worth, it will bring you down with physical sickness or something else. And I, through this group, am learning my worth. And it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And anybody who undervalues you in any way, personally, professionally, they need to have an MRI of the brain to see if there's one in there, because there's no possible way that you shouldn't say, keep going. You should like kick them out of the way. The value that you bring it's inestimable. And I have gained so much from you. And I really appreciate this conversation, because I need it, and still working, and I will get there, and I'm already there. I just haven't caught up to myself yet. So
Great.
that was basically it. So thank you.
That's one of the precious things of this platform. And that's why I keep saying to John that I don't think even he recognizes exactly what he's created here. Because a lot of us in the 20 or so months that we've been hanging around together, we've seen the growth, right? I mean, we're posture, I mean, our self-worth, our value, our posture, our just the way we project ourselves, right? We've grown, we've come a long way from the versions of us in 2020 when we got together for the first time. And you can see it, it's visible, you know, in some of us, it's visible. And it's just tremendous how you said, you know, that spiritual weight that we carry, and we don't even realize how heavy it gets every year that we carry it. And that is so true. You know, and for me, like Gail said, stuff happens when you're yay high, and you carry it into, you know, when you're more mature and, you know, your working life and all of that, and you don't realize that stuff is following you right through, right? So it does, and it weighs on you, and you don't realize it. And sometimes it takes external people to say, why are you doing that? Like, wake up, girlfriend, like smell the coffee, you're better than that, right? But you know, you need a few wake up moments, like slap upside the head and, you know, pinches and whatever it takes, right? To say, wake up, you deserve better, you're worth more, right? But it comes with time. And there's a time between you even knowing your worth and you living your worth. And that's that catching up that you find yourself doing now, Missy, that there is a disconnect. There's a time lag between when you know it and living up to it. And even when you think you've arrived, there will be those, it's like the universe just throws those events together to test you, to like remind you, do you remember this? Are you sure about this? Do you really believe this, right? Which is what the meeting today was about. And that direct communication from said person that I haven't spoken to in almost 2 years. I know my worth, like you said, I said it, you know, how many months ago, right? Or weeks ago, right? But here I am being tested again in the space of 2 days, 2 different scenarios, but I'm having to say to myself, I know what I'm worth. I know my value, right? But it just took reminders, and that's just the universe. You will get tested. It's like, how seriously do you believe this? How deeply do you believe this, right? So I've had 2 tests in the last 2 days, and it's taken, yesterday, somebody else reading the message to like say to me, nah, spin it a different way. And today, me looking at all the comments, in fact, I haven't even responded to the chat because I was bowled over. I thought half of these people don't know me from a bar of soap. I've probably only spoken to them twice in my life. I've only probably been on 2 calls with them because they're new to the organization. But they're telling me thank you and congratulations, and you've done so much. And I'm thinking, say what, right? But once again, the universe will throw those curveballs. Those tests will come that we would have to say to ourselves, yes, I truly believe that I have value, that I have worth, that I'm actually doing something, I'm making a positive impact, et cetera, right? But we will get those tests. And it's just amazing. Even though I think, yes, I know my worth, I got 2 tests in the space of 2 days. How bizarre, right? So yeah, maybe sometimes I need to do a self-head check and just remind myself of my worth and not take it for granted. So thank you, Missy. Yes, we do, yeah, sometimes have to check our thoughts and just make sure we're still thinking what we should be thinking. Yeah. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this? Lindsay, I can see you nodding and just agreeing. Like you're going to say something.
But I don't know what my mind's going this more, but I don't know exactly which direction it's going in.
Oh, you look fabulous, by the way. So I can tell your worth, model status, like, oh my God, model status. So hey.
You are a sweetheart. I
But I'm
appreciate
thinking
that.
makeup. I'm thinking I want a makeover. I want to look like that.
Well, I've had this, I don't know, pink eye or something for the
You
past couple of
said,
days.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're going to try the makeup today. So it's all good.
You look fabulous. Oh my God.
But, you know, I was thinking when we talked about, I think it was similar to this topic. And it was ask, you don't know what you're good at, I think. Ask those closest to you. And I can remember asking my sister, and I don't know if it's my husband or what, and they were basically just looked at me like, I don't know. I was like,
Uh-oh.
so to me, I was like, all right. So it made me question that. And I was like, there's a lot of things I'm good at,
Exactly.
you know, but it was like, it's like that direct question. I couldn't narrow it down. I was like, well, it's just a lot of different things. So,
Well, I can tell you three things right off the bat. I can tell you three things right off the bat. You're a great mother to be raising young men. Oh my God. And those young men are coming into their own. I see them flourishing under your care and love. You are a phenomenal mother, right? And then you have a husband. You're surrounded by 3 men in your house to keep the man happy and the young men happy. Oh my God. Yeah. So you are a wonderful wife. Great support. There's the 2 things already. And you are a leader amongst leaders. Because, you know, I keep my eyes on you on other platforms and you are shining, girl. You are leading you're leading the way and people are happy to follow you. They walk into fire with you. So I don't know what they were thinking, but yeah, they need to go back to their drawing board and, you know, of course you're good at stuff. What?
I was like, all right. Yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of maybe not stuff everybody's interested in or whatever, but hey, yeah.
And if you wanted another revenue stream, you could be a makeover artist because I'm looking at your face. Do me up any day, girl. You can do my makeup any day of the week. I want to look like that.
It's so Bella. It's not me. It's this makeup. I'm telling you. Because I tell you, quick mom, God, I didn't do this last night, but I usually take my makeup off and I put my top, because over the waterproof, I put my top eyeliner and mascara on at night and then go to bed and then put the rest of it on in the morning.
Well, you look fabulous. So yeah, that could be another revenue stream. Show them how it's done. So
I appreciate that. Yep.
Oh, well
that's
done.
where my mind was going, because I kept thinking I did question my value when I was told that, and I was like, I've never questioned that.
Yeah, never question that. You have tremendous value, girl. Tremendous value.
Yeah, I just had to remember that. You know, they take a lot of time. So I forgot.
No, you have value. You definitely have, and it's not even a trickle. It's oodles of value. So please don't ever second guess what value you hold. You are valuable to all of us on this platform, and then some. So yeah.
Thank you. Y'all are all awesome, and I appreciate every one of you.
Good. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to weigh in? I see names, but I can't see their faces because the cameras are off, the mics are off. Evelyn is on. Oh my God, Evelyn, I haven't seen you in forever. How are you? Evelyn Smith, she's on.
Good morning.
Here
I am. Hi, I'm in my living room. I just,
oh my God.
not really presentable, but
it doesn't matter. I'm so glad to see you.
Thank you, Ivie. It's great to see you too and see everybody, their names at least. Yeah, you know, change of pace is very good. Change of pace, change of routine, and that helps me focus. And I've been here listening to this talk about, you know, for me personally, there are moments when I felt devalued, and those moments, I'm not very good. This is how I can improve. I can improve by knowing how to respond. And what you gave me is, I realized that I can have a script. I can have a couple of go-to sentences, because what usually happens is not that I'm a deer in the headlights and I don't know what I'm feeling. I just am shocked that they would treat me that way. Like, are you gotta be serious? Are you serious? You gotta be kidding me, right? And so I don't respond because I'm in shock. But I think what the other person might, I mean, you never know what's in somebody else's head, honestly, realistically. But sometimes I think that if you don't respond, then that implies consent. So the person thinks, well, you see, you agree with me.
Mm.
Or, you know, they may not even be conscious. What I've learned too is they may not even be conscious that they're treating you in a devaluing way.
Mm.
And it could be in their, like you said, you can smell it, right? It
Mm.
could be in their tone. It could be in their body language. You know, 80% of communication is body language.
Yeah.
And they may not even be aware. It could also be the way that they treat everybody.
Mm.
That could be, maybe it's not even about me. It's really just the way they treat everybody. Usually what I do is just avoid the person if I can. I do move on, but I don't say what I could say.
Mm.
So I like the idea, I really like the idea of having a script, you know, a sentence that I can go to.
Mm.
And before I move on, I think what that might do for me, not that I really care what that other person hears necessarily, but I think what it might do for me and why I might invest in committing to memory a script sentence is that it might help me to not carry it with me when I go forward.
Exactly.
Because that's the sort of thing that kind of lives in my head rent free as a ghost. It becomes a ghost that haunts me. And I think later, darn, I should have said this.
Mm.
So the script, very useful idea.
Mm. Oh, thank you, Evelyn. This is why we've missed you. Oh my God, your perspective. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Thank
and
you,
yes,
Jay.
you are right. Like
Thank
a
you.
lot of the
Love your,
communication is
yeah,
non-verbal cues. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you were
I'm-
saying that body language sometimes
Oh,
can
all the
be
time.
devaluing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So non-verbal cues, the looks, the hand gestures, body language, all of that stuff sends a message. So they might not actually say it in words, but they're saying something, right? And it's good that you've also pointed out that sometimes it's not necessarily about us. It might be how they just treat everybody in general. So they might be miserable gits anyway and just don't know any better, right? But don't take it on. And I like the idea of having your go-to sentences or your scripts. And this is where posture comes in, because with time and as you get stronger, you will have your go-to responses where you can say to that person, thanks, but no thanks. That's your, that's your prerogative. That's your impression, not mine, or thanks, see you later kind of thing. You'll get the words together that resonate with you, that you can say to people. But I'm glad that you take it away, but just don't, when you take it away as assessing and I guess reconfirming your worth, but not taking their bad or their devaluing behavior and words on as your true value. So don't let it haunt you going forward, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Correct. I mean, perception is everything, and experience. Always have to consider, like, for example, in the context that I'm thinking of is, let's say a former boss that in evaluation and discussion of an evaluation, an actual performance evaluation that was done on me. Okay, for example, as everybody knows, and you're probably sick of hearing it, I was a language teacher for 25 years, 27, almost 30 years. And I was really like extensively trained, like a nationally world level. And it's not only learning methodology, it's learning really small techniques. And I worked really, really hard in developing that discipline of refining very, very specific techniques. And one technique when you're teaching beginners is to slow down, because they're still at the level where they're translating in their head. And it's a really, really common mistake that language teachers do. They talk too fast. So there I am teaching 14-year-olds, lower, basic level Spanish, and I'm talking really slow, and they're with me. Here comes the principal. And he actually said in my evaluation, you need to speed it up.
What?
And you're talking too slow. But he made it, he prefaced it with a comment that made me suspect that some ageism was involved. Because it was couched in this context of a larger conversation about the way teenagers' brains work, and that due to, in their generation, and it's bolstered by technology and the rapidity of images that come at them, their brains start to crave a change of imagery, right? Really fast. So he's of the bias that he thinks that they need lots and lots of changes of imagery. That you just need to go really, really fast to keep up with these teenagers' brains. And that's actually not true, not in language education. So because I tend to put authority figures up on a pedestal, I didn't have that moment of posture of standing up straight and saying, you know, I could see where that might appear so on the surface, but actually we do better when we go slowly. You know, I could have taken that opportunity to educate him, but I didn't. I was just shocked. I was just stunned, especially because I felt like there was a little bit of ageism in his comment, probably not even consciously. But anyway, that moment has haunted me. And I was like, oh, if I see him on the street, you know, I'm gonna give him a what for. But it's just about learning that script, you know, standing up for myself and realizing that there's arrogance out there. Some people are really full of themselves. Some people don't know what they don't know. They only know what they know. When they don't know what they know, they're not aware of what they don't know. And so I can see that person with some compassion, and not like a defensive thing, but, you know, understand that they just don't know. And so I have this opportunity to teach them, or not teach them, but inform them of what maybe they don't see. And then I can also, you know, if they're stubborn about it, I can also just use that script and say, thank you. You know, I've seen enough. Thank you very much. Thanks, but no thanks. So, and then the work, you know, we're both bringing to the table. No, I don't do online language training. Oh, you're cute. She said I'd draw a huge crowd. Thank you. I do believe that we really have to go into any employment or any business opportunity we bring, or any opportunity, any interaction, that we bring something to the table too. We bring more to the table than they're able to offer us, especially in today's job market.
Absolutely.
We bring more to the table. And if they don't see our value, we need to bring it to another opportunity.
I agree.
Right now, yeah. Right now I'm sort of looking, I'm kind of thinking, you know, I don't need to take up a lot of time, but I was looking online. I was just thinking, wow, those schools are having walkouts by teachers because they're so sick. They can't work. They're sick. Well, they get sick with COVID, but also they're under a lot of restrictions right now. And they've let a lot of teachers go in California because they didn't want to take the vaccine. So, and their conditions are not good. And so you're getting teachers that are just saying, you know, I've had it, I'm gone. So they're very, very hard up for substitute teachers. So I wonder what they're paying. And I saw the district next door is paying $200 a day.
Wow.
I know. And that's hard to pass up. I was thinking, wow, $200 a day. I may do that for a few days a month. And I could sure use that cash. And I thought, well, they better appreciate me because I've got a lot to bring to the table. And if I get any kind of, you know, it's like difficult, or they're making it difficult for me to do my job, I can just leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, Lindsay is a really hard, you saw me in my Saturday, well, what is this, Friday morning, very casual clothes. I'm sorry. I haven't even combed my hair. Lindsay is a really hard act to follow. Beautiful Lindsay. It's really good to see everybody and to hear from you, Ivie, and to hear from everybody. And I'm glad to participate again in the group.
Thank you so much, Evelyn.
Yeah, Ingrid says she's been in her Saturday clothes.
They're close since March.
Okay, thank you.
Ingrid. Thanks, Evelyn. Good to see you, as always.
Bye.
Yeah, and that's all true, you know, and it's important what you've suggested about the substitute teacher openings, because that's going to give you posture. Because if you go in a few days a month, they're going to value you, they're going to treasure you, they're going to say thank you for coming to our rescue. And like you said, if you get the kind of treatment that quite frankly you don't want, you can just say, you know what, I'm out of here, I don't need this. That will give you serious posture. because suddenly all the balls are in your court and you got the power, right? So yeah, maybe not a bad opportunity to chase up and see what comes of it. I'm really intrigued to see what you do with that.
Even, you know, and I'm sure you're talking about figuratively posture as well as physical posture.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's both.
Yeah.
But there, you know, even if you have to bring in a little bit of theater and consider it as that, like I'm
I love it. A little bit of theater. I love it. Yeah. Ingrid says life is a performance. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Evelyn. Virginia, you've got your hand up.
Yes, let me take my hand. Still in my robe. Catherine, love your cat. Here's mine on my lap. And I know Mandy's petting hers from time to time. So let me turn off this light just very quickly. Getting feedback on something. Okay, this is resonating with me for what's been happening in my life this week, as I have been thinking, okay, I'm working a lot in my businesses, you know, my cookbooks and Beamer and everything that I'm working on, but I'm not seeing an immediate return. And I know I'm harvesting seeds and everything for the future, but in the meantime, I've got to see about getting my expenses less than my income, not more. Okay. And so I've been thinking about taking on a nursing job as a case manager, which was my role as a registered nurse, locally, maybe a couple of days a week or whatever. And as I went to look at some things online, I saw travel nursing popping up, travel nursing case manager. And so I'm actually very seriously considering going out to preferably California, as I was mentioning to Evelyn in a private chat. And Daisy, I might be coming your way, LA, I don't know, Anaheim, down there, Southern Cal. They're usually 13 to 14-week assignments. And the income is anywhere from like $3,500 to $5,000 a week.
Wow.
Yeah, a week. So as I was discussing with somebody else on our group, Linda actually earlier, we talked a couple days ago. I go, Linda, I don't know, what do you think? And we were roommates in Vegas, and we've gotten along really well. And she says, except that your cat is your only hindrance, you have to take the cat with you, go.
Exactly. Ingrid has just said that's a no-brainer. We're all in agreement here. Yeah,
I know. And it's, so I'm going to be working on, after I unbury myself on tax forms with my businesses and everything, I am going to be focusing on that. I've already got some recruiters I've theoretically reached out to. But the point I want to make is I'm shopping them. They're not shopping me.
Exactly.
Because I looked at travel nursing in the past, and I was scared that if I left my little grandma in the basement situation and go out, that they wouldn't want me back. But I think they're going to appreciate me more when I do come back, the family and whatnot. But there's a lot of buts in this conversation. I'm really good at case management, and this would be in a hospital. You know, I am really, really good at it, and I know my value. And so I need to look at the things I'm supposed to be asking for when I'm working with an agency to make sure that I'm setting myself up correctly, because I don't want to be stuck like in a hotel room for 3 months. I want to make sure the accommodations I'm getting in this stipend or exchange are going to put me in a safe working environment. I see Ingrid typing something, and she's going to type. But yeah, meet more Beamer prospects, possibly. Hey, maybe I'll pick up that husband I'm looking for.
That's what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say. Travel, girl. Travel. You know, you're gonna expand your network. You're gonna meet like quality people. Go for it. I'm all for this.
And if I don't do it the first part of this year, which is already going to carry me into like the early part of the summer, I have too many obligations the rather part of the year. So it's like now or never. And I've always wanted to go spend time in California. So
do it.
I'm talking myself into it.
According to Nike, just do it. Because, you know, seriously, do it. If you don't like it, then you don't do it again. But you'll never know if you don't try.
And I've been putting myself visually the last few days in that situation. Okay, so when I'm in California, this is what I'm going to do. Or when I go, this is how I'm going to go. Am I going to drive? Am I going to have the car shipped? Do I need to have the car shipped? What do I need to do? So I'm already visualizing myself out there.
It's going to happen, Virginia. You've already seen it in your mind. It's going to happen in reality. That auto-suggestion, all the books we've read, what do they say? You think it first, birth it in your mind, and the next thing you know, it's there in reality. You're already halfway there. You might as well finish the trip. Make it happen. Get the rewards. You know? So yeah, I'm behind you. Go for it. I'm excited about this. Ooh,
I'm going to talk to
yay.
some people. Like I'm going to talk to Evelyn. Maybe I'll reach out to Daisy when I look at the opportunities and go, should I take a job at that hospital? Because the surrounding community is all high crime. What are my chances? I don't want to drive an hour to get to work. I want to be like, 20 minutes away. So I want to wherever that is. So
I love it. And you have the right mindset about this. You are shopping for them. They are not shopping for you. I love it. I love it.
So we'll
You're
see how
already
it
in the right
goes.
mindset. So go for it.
We'll see how it goes.
Go for
And
it.
some of the to address also what Evelyn was saying, some of the feedback I might get is I haven't been in hospital case management for 3 years. I've been in home healthcare case management, but I was before that. And then also I've taken like a 6 month or so hiatus, but I really think I can be prepared to counteract that and explain. It's like once you've learned your position, like your situation, EVA, where you're going on to a new job, if you had some lack of time in between, would that have taken away from your knowledge? No. Or your experience? No. Or knowing how to get where you need to be. So anyway, Evelyn's given me some ideas of nice hospitals in the Sacramento area.
You see, everyone. Okay, Virginia, that's it. You got everybody on board this. We're all excited. We can't wait for the next chapter. Let's go do this. Let's go do this. I'm loving this. It's exciting. Adventure. Come on. Yeah. You only live once. Yeah, that's it. YOLO. YOLO. Oh, thank you, everyone. Does anybody else have anything to say? We are 1 minute away from the top of the hour. But thank you, Virginia. And yeah, you've got the right posture. Shop for them. Ask for the moon. What's the worst they're going to say? No. Or then they meet you halfway, which is better than where you're at now, right? So go with your laundry list. Don't be shy. And let's see what happens. But you're already visualizing everything you want in your mind's eye. So I don't see you not getting what you want. So yeah, it's exciting times. Definitely. Definitely. Well, thank you everyone for being on this call. I know it was like a last minute put together subject, but I'm glad that it resonated with as many people. So let's go out there, value ourselves, never think of yourself less than you are. Don't let anybody else tell you that you are less than you are in terms of value. And anybody who overvalues you, find out what the difference is between the value you place on yourself and what they see in you, and try to operate at that higher level in terms of value. But please do not go the other way. Don't go less, always go more. Okay? Love you all very much. Have a great day. I know later on we've got Be Heard. I'm not sure if we've got Be Heard because John's away, but we'll dial in anyway at the usual time. And if he's there, we'll have a nice chat. And if he's not, then he might post something on Facebook to say it's going to hold or it's not going to hold. So let's just keep our eyes open for any comms coming out. But apart from that, have a great weekend, everybody. And I will see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, leave.